You've been standing on the tee, watching your drives fall shorter every year, and you blamed your age. Stop. It isn't your age, it's the ball. The little white thing in your pocket is quietly stealing yards from you on every single swing, and you paid a premium for the privilege. Here's the verdict, right up front. If your swing speed has slowed below about 85 miles per hour, the most expensive golf ball on the shelf is costing you distance, not adding it. I know that sounds backwards. I believe the opposite for 15 years, and I have the credit card statements to prove it. By the end of this, I'll show you the robot test that exposed the whole thing, the compression number the box refuses to print, and a simple trick you can do this weekend with the balls already sitting in your bag. And no, you don't need to buy new clubs to get these yards back. Not one club. Just keep listening. Let me take you back to a Saturday 2 summers ago, because that's the round that broke the spell for me. I was playing my home course, a dozen fresh premium balls in the bag, the kind I'd bought religiously for 2 decades. My buddy Ray, 71 years old, hitting it past me on every hole. Finally, on the 12th, I asked what he was playing. He grinned and tossed me one. It was a soft, cheap thing I'd have laughed at 10 years earlier. He bet me a beer I'd hit it farther than my expensive ball. I took the bet. I lost the bet. And I couldn't stop thinking about why. So let's start with the thing nobody at the pro shop will explain to you. It's a word you've seen and probably ignored: compression. Compression is simply how much a golf ball squishes when your club face strikes it. Think of the ball like a spring. To get all the energy back out of that spring, you have to actually compress it. A tour professional swinging a driver at 115 miles per hour crushes a firm ball completely, and it explodes off the face. That same firm ball hit by a smooth 80 mile per hour senior swing barely dents. You're bunting a rock. The energy you paid for stays locked inside, and it never comes back to you as distance. Now, here are the numbers that made me feel like a fool. The famous tour balls, the ones every commercial waves in your face, carry a compression rating right around 90 to 100. They are built, engineered, and tuned for players who swing hard. Meanwhile, a softball built for a slower swing sits down around 35 to 50 compression. That gap is enormous. That gap is your lost distance. For years, I thought compression was about feel, firm ball, firm feel, better player. That's the story I told myself. But compression isn't a bragging right. It's a matching problem. And I had been mismatched to my own equipment for the better part of my golfing life, handing over $50 a dozen to lose yards. That's the piece I want you to sit with, because once you understand it, you can't unsee it either. But here's where it gets uncomfortable, and this is the part that turned my confusion into something closer to anger. I went looking for who decided that everybody should play the same ball as the professionals, because that's the assumption I'd swallowed whole. Play what the winners play. It's printed on every sleeve, stamped on every tour bag, repeated by every announcer on Sunday. And when you're a golfer who loves the game and wants to believe you're getting better, that message is intoxicating. I drank all of it. Look at how these balls are sold. The marketing never mentions swing speed. It never mentions that the ball-winning majors was designed for a body that moves twice as fast as most of us. It shows you the trophy, the confetti, the champion, and it lets you fill in the blank. You assume that if it's good enough for the best, it's the best for you. That assumption is worth billions, and it was built on purpose. I pulled the pricing history because I wanted to know if I was imagining the climb. I wasn't. Back in the late 1990s, a dozen premium balls ran you around $34. Today, that same tier sits near $55 to $60 a dozen, and some limited runs push higher. That's not just inflation. That's a product that convinced an entire generation of aging golfers to pay more every year for a ball that, for their swing, performs worse than options costing half as much. And the cruelest part? The golfers who need the most help are the ones being sold the least suitable product. A senior who has lost 10 or 15 miles per hour of swing speed over the last decade is precisely the player who should not be playing a firm, high-compression tour ball. Yet that's exactly who the premium marketing targets hardest, because that's who has the disposable income and the loyalty. I was that loyal customer. I was proud of it. I was being quietly fleeced, and I thanked them for it every spring when the new model dropped. Now, I want to be fair, because I promised you the truth, not a grudge. A tour ball is a genuinely brilliant piece of engineering. The multi-layer construction, the urethane cover, the green side spin, all real, all impressive. If you swing hard enough to compress it, it is a spectacular ball. The problem was never the ball. The problem was who they told to play it. They took a Formula One tire and sold it to a man driving to church on Sunday and called it an upgrade. So the question that kept me up at night became this: if the expensive ball is wrong for my swing, how much am I actually losing, and what should I be playing instead? Therefore, I did what I should have done 20 years earlier. I stopped trusting the commercials and I went and found the raw data. Here's what independent robot testing revealed, and this is the number that hit me hardest. Independent labs put golf balls on swing robots set to slower speeds, right in that senior range, around 85 miles per hour, and measured everything: ball speed, launch, spin, carry, total. And at those slower speeds, the low compression balls didn't just keep up with the premium tour balls. In test after test, they matched them for distance and in several cases beat them by a handful of yards while flying straighter. Let me explain why straighter matters as much as farther, because this is the second half of the theft. A firm, high-spinning tour ball doesn't just rob a slow swing of distance. It also punishes your misses. More spin means your slice slices harder, your hook hooks deeper. That firm ball takes your side spin and amplifies it. The low compression, lower spinning ball does the opposite. It calms the ball down, it flies straighter, holds its line, and finds more fairways. So the ball I'd been playing wasn't only shorter for me, it was making my bad shots worse. I'd been paying a premium to hit it crooked, and spin off the driver is the quiet villain here. Weekend golfers, especially seniors, almost always generate too much backspin on their driver, and too much backspin makes the ball balloon up into the air and drop straight down like a dying quail. It looks high and pretty, it goes nowhere. That firm tour ball, mismatched to a slower swing, tends to spin even more, climbing and stalling. The lower compression, low spin ball launches higher with less spin, and that combination is exactly what a slower swing needs to carry the ball farther and let it roll. That's where the real yards hide. Now let me name names, because vague advice is worthless, and I promised you specifics. The soft, low compression balls I'm talking about are things like the Callaway Super Soft, sitting near 38 compression, the Wilson Duo Soft, one of the lowest on the market, down around 35, the Shrixon Soft Feel, the Titleist Tour Soft, which is firmer but still far friendlier to a slower swing than the Tour Flagship. These balls range from around $20 to $30 a dozen, not 55, not 60. And for the swing most of us over 60 are working with, they are simply the better performing ball. I don't say that lightly. I say it as a man who mocked these balls for years. But I know exactly what a lot of you are thinking right now, because I thought it too. You're thinking this is all well and good for the guy shopping for new gear, but you've already got clubs you love and a routine that works, and you're not about to overhaul your whole bag on the word of a stranger. So let me talk directly to you, the golfer who isn't buying a thing today. This next part is built for you, and it's the cheapest upgrade in the entire game. Here's the beautiful truth about the ball. It's the only piece of equipment you replace constantly anyway. You lose them in the water, you scuff them on cart paths, you give them away. So switching to the right ball costs you nothing extra because you were going to buy balls regardless. This isn't a new driver at $600. This is redirecting the money you already spend toward the ball that actually fits you. It's the single highest return decision in golf, and it requires zero change to the clubs in your bag. And before we go any further, let me pull one thread here, because everything you've just learned about your ball being mismatched to your swing is the exact same trap waiting for you with your irons. Picture yourself standing over that 7-iron, sure you know how far it flies, then watching it come up short again and blaming your body. It's the same lie, just stamped on a different club. That's exactly why I put together the Iron Clarity Complete Set, an instant download you can open tonight. The first volume, Swing Strong, maps the 4 iron families so you finally know where your game lives, and it exposes the loft deception, the reason your 7-iron isn't really a 7-iron at all. Iron Decoded teaches you to read every miss and fix it at the source, and lays out the honest taxonomy of blades versus game improvement versus super game improvement. No sponsor money, no affiliate money, just the numbers. And the Iron Code volume hands you the complete iron building system with a full set composition and gapping blueprint. Here's your free check, and you can do it tonight without spending a dime. Take that 7-iron out of your bag, find the actual loft number printed on the sole or in the spec chart, and compare it to what a 7-iron measured 30 years ago. You'll see the loft creep with your own eyes, the same trick they pulled with your golf ball. The fastest way to get the books is to scan the QR code right there on your screen, or go to the link in the description or the pinned comment. And because you replace worn irons far less often than golf balls, the wrong set can cost you every single round for years before you ever notice, which is exactly why understanding them once pays you back forever. Now, back to the swing, because there's a second free adjustment that most golfers never even think about. So here's the technique, the one you can do this weekend without spending a dime beyond a normal sleeve of balls. I call it the 2-ball test, and it will tell you the truth about your own swing in about 20 minutes. Take one premium tour ball you already own, the firm expensive kind. Take one low compression soft ball. Go to a quiet hole or an empty range with a target. Hit 5 drives with each, alternating, and just watch. Watch the height. Watch where they land. Watch which one holds the fairway and which one drifts. Don't measure feel. Feel lies. Feel is the thing the marketing trained you to trust. Measure only where the ball finishes. When I did that test, the softball was flying a touch higher, landing softer on a steeper angle only on the irons, and outdriving my premium ball by roughly 8 to 12 yards off the tee consistently. Not once, consistently. And it was doing it while sitting 3 or 4 yards tighter to my target line. That's when the beer I lost to Ray suddenly made perfect sense. There's a second free adjustment, and it involves your tee height, because the wrong ball hides a swing you've already got. If you're switching to a lower spinning ball, tee it a hair higher and play it a touch forward in your stance off the inside of your lead heel. That helps you catch the ball slightly on the upswing, which drops your spin even further and adds launch. Higher launch, lower spin, softer landing. That's the recipe for carry when your swing is slowed down, and it costs you nothing but a small change in setup. Combine the right ball with that tee position, and you've stacked 2 free yards gains on top of each other with the same clubs you walked in with. And while we're talking about the gear you already own, throw out the myth that you need a fresh ball every hole. You don't. A ball with a light scuff performs almost identically to a new one for most of us, but a ball with a real cut, a visible gash in the cover, that one's done, because that cut changes how it flies and how it spins. So retire the cut ones and stop babying the rest. That mindset alone saves you real money over a season. Money you can pocket instead of handing over for performance you'll never feel. Therefore, once I'd proven all of this to myself, one last question remained, and it's the one that leads to the part I really brought you here for. If the low compression ball is better for slow swings and the box won't even print the compression number, how is a normal golfer supposed to know what he's actually buying? That question sent me down the final rabbit hole, and what I found at the bottom of it is the thing I wish someone had handed me 20 years ago. Here's the first buried secret, and it's almost insulting in its simplicity. The compression number, the single most important spec for matching a ball to your swing, is deliberately left off the packaging by nearly every major brand. You'll see the word soft in giant letters. You'll see distance, feel, tour, all the emotional words. You will almost never see an actual compression figure, because a number invites comparison, and comparison is the enemy of a premium price. Feel can't be measured by you in the aisle. A number can. So they give you feelings and withhold the number. Once I noticed that, I couldn't walk down a golf aisle the same way again, but the independent testers publish those numbers anyway, and that's the resource that changes everything. When I dug into the detailed robot data from the big independent ball test, the ones that measure dozens of balls at multiple swing speeds, I found the finding that reframed the whole game for me. At the slower swing speeds, the ranking of balls completely reshuffles. Balls that finish middle of the pack at tour speed jump to the top at senior speed, and the premium flagship balls, the ones that dominate at 115 miles per hour, quietly slide down the list. The best ball is not a fixed thing. It changes depending on how fast you swing. There is no single best ball. There is only the best ball for you, and yours is almost certainly not the one on the commercial. And here's the specific piece that felt like being let in on a secret handshake. Some of those independent tests found that a urethane-covered ball costing around $25 a dozen, sold by a warehouse club, matched or beat the $60 flagship at slower speeds on both distance and greenside spin. Same soft cover, same construction category, less than half the price. For a senior swing, that ball was not a compromise. It was the smart pick, and almost nobody in the mainstream review world would say it out loud because there's no advertising money in telling you to spend less. Now, for the trick I promised, the one you can do this very weekend, and it's the one that shocked me most because it costs nothing and reveals whether your own golf balls are quietly cheating you. It's about temperature. A golf ball is a spring, remember, and a cold spring is a lazy spring. When a ball gets cold, the rubber core stiffens, compression rises, and the ball flies shorter and feels like a brick. Independent testing has shown that a ball chilled down near freezing can lose meaningful distance compared to that same ball at a comfortable room temperature, several yards, sometimes more, off the driver alone. Think about where your golf balls have been living: in the trunk of your car through a cold morning, in the garage all winter, in the console overnight. You pull them out on a brisk first tee, freezing cold, and you wonder why the ball feels dead and your drive came up short. It wasn't you. It was physics, and it was free to fix all along. So here's what you do. The night before you play, bring your golf balls inside and keep them at room temperature. On a cold morning, carry 2 or 3 balls in your pocket close to your body and rotate a warm one in every few holes so you're never teeing up a cold one. Do that, and you'll feel the difference on the very first swing. I ran this exact experiment myself. I took a sleeve straight from a cold garage and a sleeve from inside the warm house, hit them side by side on a chilly morning, and the warm balls flew noticeably farther and felt alive off the face while the cold ones thudded. Same ball, same swing. The only difference was temperature. It's the closest thing to free distance I've ever found, and no one selling you a new driver wants you to know a warm ball beats a cold one for nothing. Put the whole picture together and the confession is complete. For most of my golfing life, I paid the highest price for a ball engineered for a swing I no longer have, that spun my drives too high, amplified my misses, and left yards on the table on every hole. Then I let those same balls freeze in my trunk and lose even more. The distance wasn't gone forever. It was hidden behind a marketing story I'd believed since I was young enough to swing at full speed. So let's make this concrete. One clean plan you can act on. First, match the ball to your swing. If you're swinging your driver below about 85 miles per hour, and most of us over 60 are, play a low compression ball down in the 35 to 50 range, something like the Super Soft, the Duo Soft, the Soft Feel, or a value urethane ball from a warehouse club. Second, run the 2-ball, test yourself, and trust where the ball lands, not how it feels. Third, tee it a touch higher and forward for higher launch and lower spin. Fourth, never tee up a cold ball again. Do those 4 things and you have not spent $1 on new clubs, and you will pick up yards you thought your age had taken for good. I chased new drivers for years thinking the club was the answer. The club was never the biggest lever. The ball was sitting in my pocket the whole time, the cheapest thing in the bag, and it was the one piece of equipment I never questioned. That's the part that still stings. The answer was the item I replaced the most and understood the least. If you've read this far, you're not the kind of golfer who wants to be told what to buy. You're the kind who wants to know why, who wants the number behind the claim, who's done paying more to play worse. That's exactly who this is for. You just got let in on something the people selling $60 balls to slow swings would rather keep quiet. So tell me this, what ball is in your bag right now, and do you have any idea what its compression number is? Drop it in the comments, the model and the number if you can find it, and let's see how many of you are playing a ball built for a swing you don't have. I read them, and I'll tell you straight whether it fits you. And if you're tired of being marketed to and you want the honest version, the numbers without the sales pitch, stick with me here because you've just joined the golfers who see through it. Next time I'm breaking down the driver lofts that senior golfers are getting wrong and why the number stamped on your driver head might be robbing you of even more carry than your ball was. That one surprised me too. If you want the full breakdown of ball compression matched to swing speed, the free guide will walk you through it number by number so you never overpay for the wrong ball again. Warm up your golf balls this weekend, run the 2-ball test, and go take those 40 yards back. They were always yours. You've just seen the overview, but there's a whole deeper layer I couldn't fit here. Inside the Honest Fairway Club, you can ask me your own question, and a real person, me, answers you myself. You'd be joining thousands of senior golfers like you already in there. Just point your phone's camera at the code on the screen. It takes a minute, and you can cancel any time. I'm glad you're here. Now that you know which golf balls to avoid, let's find the driver that finally gives you easy, effortless distance off the tee. I'll show you the best one for your game, and it's starting right now.